Hey there, this is Kathy from Applique Corner, and today we're going to be stitching a quilted zippered bag in the hoop. This particular size today is the 6x10 size. Now I have placed it, I've hooped it in the 7x12 hoop, so it would be a little bit easier for you to see. But we've got these zippered bags in a 4x4 size, 5x7 size, 6x10, and even larger. So what you want to do, what I've got is 2 layers of fabric, and sandwiched in between is a product called Warm and Natural. It's a product that quilters use for quilting. It's very, very soft. It is a natural cotton product, but if you want to, you could use some type of felt, or you could use flannel if you wanted a little bit thinner, but I wanted mine nice and quilted. Now this is a thin loft. It's not a real thick loft, but it makes for a beautiful product. Both fabrics are right side out, and they're hooped in a traditional hoop. And again, this is 6x10 size. The first step that is going to stitch is the outline of the bag. This is going to be the front of the bag, and at the end of this section we're going to also monogram it. I've merged my monogram. So let's get started. And I'm using white thread, and then we'll use a pretty colored thread for the monogram. Okay, the next step is the stippling design. It is just a running loopy stitch, a quilting design that's going to fill in this area and quilt the 3 layers of fabric together. And we'll go right into that design. Okay, now the quilting is finished, and at this point, if you were not going to add a monogram or name or any type of design, you would simply remove the fabrics from your hoop and trim. But we are going to add my monogram today, and so I'm going to stop the machine. I'm going to stop right here and rethread the machine in a pretty yellow to bring out and just accent that fabric, bring out the yellow in the fabric. All right, I've got the yellow thread threaded, as I wanted to accent the yellow in this fabric, and I've got it threaded through the machine. It just takes a second, and I'm stitching on the Baby Lock Destiny today, so I wanted you to see how quick and easy it is to thread the needle. With the automatic threader, it is just that simple. Now we're ready to stitch. Also wanted to mention at this point, if you wanted to change out your bobbin thread and use the same color bobbin thread as your top thread, that is certainly an option. I don't mind one bit. I'm using white bobbin thread because my fabric has, on the inside of the bag, has a lot of white in it. But if you wanted to change that out, just know that you can. But this bag is for me, and I'm fine with it that way. These bags would be very nice gifts for children or family or friends. This bag in particular would be beautiful. This fabric would be beautiful for bridesmaids' gifts, something like that, or a graduate or someone going off to college. But pick any type of fabric that suits the personality of the person that you're giving it to. You could do bags for little boys. They might want to carry their toy cars or electronic games in the car with them, or to grandmothers. And little girls might want to carry some baby doll clothes, Barbie clothes, that sort of thing. I'm going to use my particular bag for cosmetics or toiletries. They make great bags to carry your jewelry in. I have a bag, a 5x7 size, for eyeglasses and contact lens cases and eye drops and that sort of thing. All right, the monogram has finished, and now what you want to do is you want to remove the hoop from your machine, and we will remove the fabric or the front of our bag from the hoop. And then we're just going to trim around. You don't need a lot of fabric. Again, let me remind you, this is a 6x10 design, and I recommend doing it in a 6x10 hoop. I used the 7x12 hoop so that it would be just a little bit easier for you to see in the video. That's why I've got a little bit more excess fabric. But fabric can be pricey, so you want to be conservative with your fabric. But you do want to have, in a traditional hooping method, you do want to have about 1 inch all the way around outside your hoop. Okay, here I've cut about 1/4 inch all the way around, and what you want to do next is you just want to score these corners. I'm going to put little cuts around the corners, so when you turn the bag right side out, it will lay nice and flat, but you want to be really careful not to cut into the stitching. You don't want a hole in your bag. I think I'm putting about, I don't know, 6 or 7 or so cuts. There we go. Now, that's the front of your zippered quilted bag, and we're going to lay this piece aside, and then we're going to work on the back piece. All right, now we're going to begin the second part of the quilted zippered bag, and this part is the back, and we're in for a lot of fun. This part to me is the most fun. You get to add the zipper. Now the first stitch, and I've gone back to white thread, and the first stitch is going to be the placement stitch for the outside of the bag. What I want to mention is that I have a piece of tearaway stabilizer hooped. This project will not work if you use cutaway or a mesh stabilizer, so you want to get a really good tearaway stabilizer. All right, again, the next step is going to be a placement stitch, and that's where it's going to give us lines to line up the zipper. So we will allow the machine to stitch the next stitch. All right, now the design has sewn the placement lines for your zipper. Now I'm going to use an invisible zipper today, but you can use any type of zipper you like. I like the dressier zippers for these bags, and not as much as the sporty zipper, but a sporty one Might be perfect for a little boy's bag, or a little zippered bag for school supplies or toy cars or that sort of thing. But what you want to do is you want to align your zipper. Now this invisible zipper is slightly smaller than a traditional zipper, but you want to align your zipper in between the lines, the outside lines that you see. And you want to place the zipper itself on the center line, if you can see that. Now I'm going to grab a couple of pieces of tape, and what I like to use is Embroidery Perfection tape by R&K Distributing, and I will place a few pieces of tape to hold the zipper right in place so that I don't have to have my fingers anywhere near the needle. Okay, what I like to do at this point is remove the tape. I like this tape a lot. It's very simple, quick and easy to remove. Comes right off. Doesn't leave any sticky residue or anything like that. Okay, now that the tape is removed, what you want to do is you want to grab your first piece of fabric. Now it's going to stitch the bottom fabric first, and what I have done is gotten the fabric that I used for the outside of the front of the bag with the monogram, and I just folded over. So here is the fold, and I just pressed it with the iron and ironing board, and sandwiched in between again is the product called Warm and Natural. Again, you could use flannel if you want a thinner quilted bag, or even felt or something like that. Now I want an almost invisible zipper, so I'm going to pull the fold all the way up to the very center of the zipper. And again, I'm going to use the Embroidery Perfection tape to hold it right into place. Just a few pieces will work out just fine. Okay, and I'm going to let the machine stitch the next step, and it will tack that fabric into place. Okay, that part of the design, that step, when it's tacking down the fabric, it does go around and tack down twice. That's intentional. We're going to be removing the stabilizer from the back, and we're going to remove it from the inside of the fabric only. So that step helps secure the stabilizer and keeps it around the outside for you. And there we go. I just removed all of the tape, and now we're going to be ready to attach our second piece of fabric. And again, we're going to tape it down with the Embroidery Perfection tape. All right, what I want to do, you don't have to place your fabric this close. I just like the look of an invisible zipper. You can, if you would like the teeth of your zipper on a traditional zipper showing just a little bit, you can certainly back this up just a hair. But I'm going to put these fabrics right next to each other, and then I'm going to tape these in place. Okay. And then attach the hoop back to the machine. Now we'll let the machine tack this fabric down. Okay, at this point, there are several things that you're going to want to do. First, we will remove the tape. Okay. The next thing you want to do is you want to take some sharp scissors . Be careful not to cut your fabric, but you're going to want to remove the stabilizer from the inside only. Now this is where those double lines come in handy. It's going to keep the stabilizer on the outside for you. All right, now that we've gotten all of the tearaway stabilizer removed from the bag itself, now it's time to quilt the three fabrics together. At this point, the machine will stitch the quilting stippling design for the bottom piece of fabric, the bottom of the bag, and then it will stop and we'll quilt the top. Now we will quilt the top piece of the bag. All right, now the next step, the machine will stitch just a reinforcement stitch along the side of the zipper on either side, just to make sure that that zipper isn't going anywhere. Now, at this point, there's a very important step, and what you want to do is you want to stop the machine and you need to open the zipper. Now you can open it. You don't have to put it right in the middle. Some machines want the presser foot goes back to the center of the design. so you don't have to put it right in the center. But you definitely want the zipper pull inside the lines of the sides of the bag. If you accidentally forget and stitch the zipper pull on the outside, your bag won't open. All right, now that we've gotten the zipper to the open position, what we're going to do is we're going to take our bag front and we're going to look at the monogram. Now here's the top and here's the bottom. So I'm going to flip this piece over and I'm going to make sure that it goes on the top because I want my zipper close to the top. And all I'm going to do is make sure that the outside lines, the outside seams match up on the top and the bottom piece. You can, if you like, you can use the points on your machine to make sure that the needle points will be where you want them to be. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. And what I'm going to do is put a couple of pieces of tape. It isn't really necessary at this point, but I'm just going to put just a little piece on either side just to be sure. All right, now we're ready to stitch the final step, which will stitch the front and the back together. Now that the machine has stitched both sides together, what you want to do is just remove the hoop from the machine. Now I've removed the hoop from the machine and removed the tape. Now what I want to do is remove the design from the hoop and trim around. Okay, at this point, what we're going to do is cut all the way around. When you get to the zipper, just keep going. I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch. And again, I highly recommend cutting into, since we've already done that side, you can flip it over if you'd like, but cutting into the corners, making sure that you're not cutting into the stitching. You can trim the corners a little bit if they need them as well. If you'll take a few extra moments and do this, it helps your design, your bag lay out nice and flat where there's less bulk in the corners. There we go. Okay. Got a few little stray threads. We can finish cleaning these up a little later. But you want to take your zipper, you just want to unzip your bag. And turn it right side out. And you can get your scissors or and use the closed end, or you can get a chopstick or a pencil or something and just push it into those corners. You see how nicely they go out. There we go. And then you can take your bag to your ironing board and just press out the seams on the side, and helps your bag lay nice and flat. And call it done. Hope you enjoyed it.